Amidst pandemic uncertainty and the institutional promise to deliver face-to-face instruction, I began the first week of Introduction to Creative Writing by asking the 12 students enrolled about their personal learning goals for the course. These are the prompt questions. What do you want to learn in this course? Why? How will you work to achieve those learning goals? How can I help you work toward your personal learning goals? What I received was not exactly what I expected. While students may be interested in publishing their creative work in the future, there was no discussion of authorial or publication aspirations in these responses. Here's a sampling of student responses accompanied by their declared major. From a psychology major, to become a confident, well-spoken writer and expand my knowledge of literary works and genres. From an art major, to express and organize my ideas more effectively. I also want to learn more about various writers. From another psychology major, I really hope to become comfortable or at least familiar with different styles of writing as well as increase the amount of works I have read. From an undeclared major, to expand my horizon on different writing techniques. From a business major, learn how to write in many different kinds of genres. And finally, from a biology major, asking more questions, engaging more, and opening up to new things. I would like to see what new writing skills I could discover in this class that can help me now, but also in the future when I may have to write stories or even papers in other classes. I am grateful that I asked students these questions so that I could shift my perceptions and pedagogy. And while we are still writing an assortment of poems, stories, and essays for the class, driven by technique, I needed to be intentional about meeting student learning goals, gaining exposure to and flexibility in different genres, increasing general writing and communication skills transferable to other coursework, and engaging in literary community, all of which lean toward the idea of real-world skills and experiences. For me, this meant designing assessments that would allow students to showcase those desired skills in ways outside of a traditional workshop or paper portfolio. There is general consensus among many creative writing studies scholars, including Stephanie Vanderslice, Trent Hergenrader, and Graham Harper, that the Iowa Writers' Workshop model and the notion of a one-size-fits-all approach in which students arrive with similar goals and perceptions of what it means to be a writer and receive that treatment is a flawed notion. The breadth of research and thinking on this shift in pedagogy and curriculum has been significant, and much of it very recent. In her introduction to the special issue of the Journal of Creative Writing Studies, Creative Making as Creative Writing, Kathy Behrens notes how writers can collaborate with technology to produce work in which the medium is an active agent in meaning making, not an invisible container that drops from reader awareness. The essays contained in the special issue advocate for student-driven learning goals, engagement in digital text and gameplay, writing fan fiction and in different modes, and more. The wider implications of this research for my practice is to adapt to student learning goals as well as foster creativity across modal platforms. To help document student progress and practice in this course, I used a low-stakes practice journal as a way for students to produce an archive of their process in both print and digital mediums. Since most students were new to or limited experience with creative writing, I asked all students to keep a journal in which they wrote daily responses and writing meditations given during and outside of class and submitted weekly evidence of their work through our online learning management system. I only assessed by 2 criteria: being present and clearly dating and marking entries. But I provided my own observations and insights into what themes or concepts emerged most strongly in that week's writings. Toward the end of the semester, students will be asked to design a digital portfolio of their work using Google Sites, with the freedom to showcase their own selection of work within and between different genres, and to incorporate different mediums and media such as video, visual art, and sound. The use of a shareable website allows students flexibility in how they want their work to be perceived and received by an audience through primarily digital means. And they will be able to share their work among their peers before and after the completion of the portfolio to understand how audiences will interact with their various texts. On a different note, to conclude, I want to discuss an extracurricular opportunity that I hope to eventually integrate more fully into the English major curriculum as a special topics course or course internship, to establish a robust internship presence in the English program. I currently offer students from all majors to apply to serve as a paid intern for the Looking Glass Rock Writers Conference, a national writers conference held on my institution's campus every May. This internship allows students to work on social media management, promotion, and branding, which appeals to anyone interested in public relations, communications, or advertising fields. During the conference, students assist me with the nuts and bolts of running the conference, in which they make professional connections with participants, faculty, and campus staff and community members. Ultimately, we want to equip our students for success, in and outside of the classroom, during and beyond their studies. We know well that creative writing has always had the capacity to translate broadly into skills that students will find useful immediately and in the long term. Next is Coffey.